Hello, my friends. Welcome to my home studio in the beautiful Catskill Mountains in Upstate New York. I am John Morrell, and I'm back with an awesome tag video. Compliments of Tyler from Simply Fragrances. I will leave his link in the description down below. And this is a tough one. I had a real tough time here. It is 10 perfect 10 fragrances. Oh, I could not narrow it down, but we're going to do our best. Hit the music, baby.
John Morrell, Fragrance Review. Here comes the swag. John Morrell, Fragrance Review. Here comes the swag. Fresh and dope like heroin soap. That man's got swag.
So I had a really hard time with this. And the big reason is, first of all, what is a perfect 10 fragrance? What is it? Is it all about the scent of the fragrance? It's all about how you perceive this fragrance. Does it evoke memories? I think there is some of that for me, for sure. But also what I try to do is I go by the scent of the fragrance, of course, and that's going to be subjective. I guess maybe most of this is subjective, but the scent of the fragrance certainly is subjective. I definitely have notes I prefer in fragrances. And also what I'm going to go by is performance. Now, when I say that, not necessarily projection, for example, although I think if a fragrance projects, I think that's a plus, of course. But I'm also thinking sometimes fragrances aren't meant to project. So I'm going to take that into account in my mind. Like, okay, this fragrance is a date night fragrance. It's not looking to fill the room. Or it's a work fragrance. It's not looking to fill the room. That's not the purpose. So I think I'm trying to take in my mind the purpose of the fragrance. Trying. Okay. But I am counting longevity. Okay. I think that, especially when you spend a lot of money on a fragrance, I do think it should last. Now, I'm someone who I have no problem reapplying fragrances. I often prefer it, especially if I prefer the top notes and middle notes to a fragrance as opposed to, the bottom or dry down notes, right? So I don't mind reapplying. I don't. But I think when you pay a lot for a fragrance, I do think you have to keep in mind, how long does this last? Is it worth the money I'm paying for it? And I think that's something that people have to think about when they spend money. So I am taking into account longevity when I make a fragrance a perfect 10. Okay, so it's a tough one. And I have a list of 20. I do. I have a list of 20 fragrances that I could have included. Actually, a couple more than 20, because I think there's so many absolutely amazing fragrances out there that can be considered perfect 10s by different people and by me. So I'm going to do one caveat. I don't want to say caveat, an exception to this, or a 10B. I'm going to do a line of fragrances. I've been talking about them forever, and I'm not going to bring them out one by one and make it 5, okay? I will make it 1. So I guess it will be one of the 10. And it's going to be, you guessed it, Guerlain de Absolus de Orient line. The entire line. Now, different people like different fragrances from that line, okay? But they project just like beasts. And same thing with longevity. Longevity are like 8 to 10 hours in every single one of those fragrances. So those are all perfect 10s to me, but I'm going to count the entire line as 1, as opposed to just, I'd be halfway through my list if I just use the 5 I have, right? So that's going to be my number 1 is the entire line of Les Absolus d'Orient by Guerlain. This list was really so hard. A big reason too is I am a big fan of, I think, fall, winter fragrances. My notes are always, I like rum, tobacco, leather, cardamom. These are kind of my notes, but there are plenty of warm weather fragrances I love. And so I'm trying to balance it out a little bit. It's tough. I really could have done, I really think there's so many perfect 10 fragrances out there. But the next one, I'm going to go a little warmer weather, although I do think this can be a year-round fragrance. I'm going with, this fragrance has been a favorite of mine since I've gotten it, since it was released. And I'm going with Navitus, I think that's how he says it, Navitus Parfum Carte Blanche. Okay, Carte Blanche, which is a Monica Cho inspired fragrance. I love this. And I have a whole review on this. I do. So I have a whole review on this. So if you want to see that, you can check that out in my videos. So there's no point in going through. But I love this fragrance. To me, it's an upscale. I don't see this as being a t-shirt fragrance. I don't think you wear this with a t-shirt. I think you at least wear a polo. And it's just it's what the fragrance. It's Carte Blanche. It's this smells like you show up at a nightclub or anywhere you want to go and you walk to the front of the line. That's what that smells like. And to me, it's almost like I also smell, I can imagine being in the French Riviera with that on. I can. So I think this is just, I could wear this every day. I just love it. This is one of those ones that when you put it on, you keep smelling yourself. It's that good. And so, yeah, I really dig it. And so as far as the performance, you're going to get this, especially for the kind of fragrances, you get longevity out of this. I get about 7 to 8 hours on this fragrance, which is really good. To something I think leans a little more warm weather, but I do think it can be a year-round fragrance just because of the quality. And I haven't worn it in the cold yet, but I'm guessing this will cut right through the cold. So, Carte Blanche by Navitus Parfum. All right, I really, really wanted to put John Varvatos' Dark Rebel in the 8th spot here, but in good conscience, I couldn't do it because the performance just isn't where it should be to be a perfect 10. Although, in my opinion, the fragrance, the scent itself is absolutely there. But the performance just isn't to be a perfect 10, although it is in my Hall of Fame. So I decided let's put something similar in there, something that I think has a similar profile, but has the performance as well. And I'm talking about curly scents, the Siren from Zaharoff. This, again, I did a whole review on this, so I don't want to go through it and talk about what I think of it. If you haven't seen the review, go check it out. But man, to me, this is a predominantly leather fragrance. I know people get a lot of other things out of it. It's a boozy leather fragrance, similar, again, more modern take, in my opinion, on Dark Rebel. And I love this. It's sexy, sexy, sexy. So that is a perfect 10. The performance on it projects very well for the first couple hours. It comes a little closer to the skin, but not a skin scent by any stretch of the imagination. It's still, I would say, after the first 2 hours, is still about, I bet you still a foot. It's a foot of projection. Which isn't a lot, of course, but you have a little scent bubble around you after about 2 hours for another couple hours. After about 4 hours, it moves closer to the skin. But this is an 8 to 10 hour fragrance for sure. So the performance is there on this fragrance, and that is why the Siren is in my 8th spot. It's a perfect 10. All right, so in the 7th spot, I have a fragrance I haven't had for that long. I mean, it's been, 4 months? 4 months. So I've had it for a while. I've worn it a lot, 4 or 5 months. And it's Mancera's Cedrat Boise, which I believe is a perfect 10. I have an older version of this. I don't know what the new, I know that because the newer versions have the magnetic top. I have a batch that has the screw top still. I did put the batch, if you want to know my batch code, I did put it in the comments in my review of Cedrat Boise because someone had asked, and they had the same batch as me, which is wild. So my batch is just, I love it. It's a, see, people had told me this smelled like, and I went through this a little bit, but people had told me this smelled like Aventus, and I do like that sort of DNA. I bought it. It didn't smell anything like Aventus. I was kind of bummed at first. And then as I wore this more and more, and I've worn it quite a bit, as you can see, right? I mean, I've only had it 4 or 5 months. As I wore it more and more, I really started to appreciate this fragrance for what it is. It has a citrus on the top, obviously, and there's a leather for me that comes right. I know leather, I think it's in the base, but it comes right away on the top for me, which gives it almost a petrol type smell. Not like, oh, wow, that's not true. I would say similar to a Fahrenheit, but toned way down. So it's not, because Fahrenheit, you have that really, really strong petrol smell right away. This is a way toned down, smoother version. And when you know it's leather, you get, oh, it's leather and citrus. But it does give off almost a slight petrol sort of feel, which gives it a masculine feel. I love this. I love it, love it, love it. So for me, and the performance on it is out of this world. I mean, this is a 10-hour, and for this kind of fragrance, that's pretty amazing. So I would say it's an 8 to 10-hour fragrance, depending on your skin. Again, always depending on your skin, but I get 8 to 10 hours out of this. And it's a perfect 10. Cedrat Boise. So when I'm trying to keep this, listen, I some of these I get are pricey, and I haven't been talking about the prices to them, but you can all look them up. But I know some of them are pricey. I'm trying to balance this out because there are absolutely perfect 10 fragrances that aren't pricey. So don't worry about that. I have had a couple so far that aren't that pricey. But the next one is, which is what the next one is. And again, I had to narrow this list down. I had 20 to 25, what I consider perfect 10 fragrances. And then I started whittling it down from there, and it was tough. But this one, I could not get off this list no matter how much I tried, because to me, and I did do a review on this, not many people have. So if you want to see a review of this fragrance, I'm one of the few people that I know that has done one, is African Rooibos by Chris Collins. African Rooibos by Chris Collins, which to me is a game changer as far as a tea fragrance. I've never smelled a tea fragrance this good, this unique. I mean, this is high class. And when I say that, I'm not saying you have to dress up with this, but when you wear this fragrance, you smell like you have your crap together. That is this fragrance. So again, Chris Collins, African Rooibos, okay, and it's just perfect 10, faux show. Right, so number 5 on the list, okay. I try to go back and forth a little bit. This one isn't that pricey, right? And it is again in my Hall of Fame. This one for me does last fairly long. I've heard people, I shouldn't say I've heard, I've read online people saying this doesn't last very very long on them. For me, I haven't had that experience. And for the type of fragrances it is, I think it's absolutely stellar. And I'm talking about, to me, the king of spring and summer. But I wear this all year round. I love it so much. But the king of spring and summer for me, Versace Signature. And as you can see, I do have a backup of this, of course. Look at, I have a backup. To me, one of the best fragrances ever made, designer-wise, for sure. Yes, it's a fresh fragrance. Yes, it's a bit aquatic. Some watery notes. I get like 6 hours out of this, and the projection for me is 2 hours. And I'm talking, this is one where I walk into a room and people know I'm there. For the first 2 hours, this thing projects off of me like nobody's business, right? It's like I'm like sunshine when I walk into the room with this on. So this does project a lot. And for the first 2 hours for me, and this is a full 5-hour fragrance before it hits my, and even after 5 hours, by the way, this lasts a bit longer. I would say this lasts 6-7 hours on my skin. After the 5-hour mark, it's a skin scent. But for 5 hours, this thing is, people smell me. So Versace Signature, and it's an EDT, so it's surprising. And the fact that it's an aquatic, fresh fragrance, it's great on me. It's just amazing on me. And so it's a perfect 10. It is in my Hall of Fame. It will always be a perfect 10. I will always have a bottle of this, and I will always wear it year round because I love it so much. All right, next fragrance may or may not be a surprise. I don't think so. But I haven't done a review of this one, not a full review. And so you notice I'm not getting into the notes of fragrances I've done reviews on. You can check those out. Go back into my archive of videos and look. But this one is... First of all, I love everything about it. This is a perfect 10. I mean, there's nothing I can say negative about this fragrance. It's Roja's Creation E, which is also known as Enigma, on Fragrantica if you're looking, but it's Creation E or Enigma. And it has all the, listen, I mentioned the notes I like in the beginning, which, I like a boozy, right? I like a rum usually or something like this. This has cognac, tobacco, ginger, sandalwood, patchouli, cardamom, top note is bergamot. I mean, this is just, oh man. And on me, it's a 12-hour fragrance. So I have to be sure I want to wear it when I put it on. I went out about 2 weeks ago. I was going out at night. This isn't really a summer fragrance, but I was going out, it was a little chilly. I said, oh man, I'm dying to wear this. I put it on. I was out for 5 hours or so, came home. My wife and I jumped into bed, watched a little TV. I fell asleep. Next morning, I woke up. I was still wearing it. I mean, this is a full 12-hour fragrance, sometimes longer on me. So obviously, I love the scent profile, and the performance is amazing. It projects well too. You have a scent bubble around you almost the entire time. So for me, when I say that, you really do. I mean, when I say that, for the entire time I was out for 5 hours, for all 5 hours, and I had people go, oh, something smells good. And by the way, when people do that, it's weird, right? Because you don't want to say it's me. It could be my wife. It could be, right? Maybe it was because she was wearing Zaharoff's Rose fragrance, right? Signature Rosé. So it could have been her, but I always assume it's me. I always do. It probably was me. Both fragrances are amazing though. But anyway, so perfect 10 for me. I love it. It to me is an upscale. I think it's a fragrance you don't wear with a t-shirt. I think you at least have to wear at least a polo, but I think it's great dressed up. And to me, this is an upscale country club sort of. I think it's a bit mature, and I am a bit mature. So I don't know if this is a 25 and under fragrance, but I think 25 and up. You can wear whatever you want, by the way. Wear what you want when you want. I don't care what gender. I don't care what age. Wear what you want. I'm just giving you kind of what I get out of it. All right, so perfect 10. Creation 8. All right, so now we're on number 3. I have to tell you, this was so hard for me because I do have a lot more fragrances I consider to be perfect 10s. So this is tough. I'm down to the last 3, and it's killing me because there's others I want to put in here, and I'm really flying by the seat of my pants right now. I had a whole list, and I didn't even really cross some off. I just decided, all right, let's just do it, and I'm going to do what I feel when I feel it. And so this one I'm putting in here, and here's why. It's a scent profile that I think is mass appealing. Everybody loves it, and I get people are going to. I guess the scent profile is popular in another fragrance, Invictus Aqua. However, this fragrance was created before Invictus Aqua, okay? And I did do a review of this, so I won't go through all the notes. But if you know what Invictus Aqua smells like, or you know what, I have to look back. If you know what Legend Spirit smells like, then you know what this smells like. But this is better for me. Now, again, I don't have Invictus Aqua, so I'm not saying. To me, this is better than Legend Spirit. It's a little denser. There's a little more to it. And Hawas by Versace lasts forever. This is, for a fragrance like this, a fresh fragrance, I consider this the best out of the gym fragrance, or even in the gym fragrance. But it does project a lot, so be careful. This is one that is a monster as far as projection and longevity. This fragrance is an 8 to 10 hour fresh fragrance. I don't know if you heard me. Okay. 8 to 10 hour fresh fragrance. You heard? My son had this on, and you can go anosmic to this. And that's why for a while I was like, it does last a long time, but maybe not as long as I think. No. My son wore this. We went to the movies 2 weeks ago. My son wore this out. He forgot I had this in my car because I sprayed on myself when I got out of the gym. And so my son got in the car, forgot cologne. And so I said, oh, you want this? He sprayed it on. We're out all day. We're out all day. And he walks by me and I go, I still smell that. Like you just put it on. This stuff is amazing. Don't sleep on Hawas. Okay. Hawas, but pronounced Hawas by Versace. And it's like $42. Brand new. And the best place to get it, I found, you probably find some great people, sellers selling it on eBay. However, I got the best price on Versace's store on Amazon. On Amazon, Versace has a store, and I got it for I think I got it for $43. It's just, I'll never be without this. It's, as you can see, look how much I've used. It's my after gym scent. I do try to switch it up because I have so many fragrances, but I just tend to use this a lot because, especially if I'm not coming right home to shower, this thing is just dope. It just lasts forever. If you haven't tried Hawas and you like the scent profile to Legend Spirit or Invictus Aqua, this is it, man. This lasts forever. If you have longevity problems with those other ones, and I know you do, you won't with this. is a perfect 10. Right, this is getting down to the wire, right? I have only 2 fragrances left, and I'm dying over here because I have so many I want to put in. I have so many, but I can't. I don't have this bottle right in front of me because I have it downstairs. I wear it quite a bit, and you guys know I have. You've seen me. I am someone who is a big fan of this line, even though it gets crapped on by people. And I'm talking Date for Men by Fragrance One. It's sweet. It's sexy. Every time I put it on, my wife loves it. It's a less, for those of you who've never smelled this, it's a tiny bit less sweet version of Wanted by Night, which I also love, which almost made my list as well because it's such a great performer and I love the scent profile. This is a less sweetened version of that, and to me it's a little sexier. My wife loves both of those fragrances, but Date for Men by Fragrance One, to me, is a perfect 10. It's just, there's nothing to not like about the fragrance itself. The performance is just stellar. It projects really well. It's like I would say this is a 5 to 6 foot projection for the first couple hours. I mean, but this is a 10-hour fragrance. It's outstanding. So that's my number 2. We're down to the wire. We are down to the last one. What is it going to be? Yes, obviously I'm wearing a different shirt, and it's because it's a different day. I had this all wrapped. I was editing it. I was ready to throw it up, and then I changed my mind about the last fragrance, the number 1 fragrance for my perfect 10 list. It was also a perfect 10. I'm not going to tell you what it was because I'm changing it. I could not do a perfect 10 list without my old faithful, the fragrance that has been getting me compliments from everyone for the last 10 years probably. I've been wearing this, so I just can't go wrong with it. And it's Tom Ford's Black Orchid. Long lasting. It's a 7 to 8 hour fragrance on me. Projects very well on me. I would say 4 or 5 feet for the first 2-3 hours, and then it's still, you have a scent bubble around you for another couple hours. I mean, this is just the truffle, the black currant, the ylang ylang. By the way, on top and middle notes for that, but the jasmine, the bergamot, the mandarin orange, the Amalfi lemon, and then the Mexican chocolate, the patchouli, the vanilla, incense. I mean, this fragrance has a lot going on, but it just is a masterpiece. Perfect 10. I wouldn't change one single thing about it. That's why I didn't buy the new version of this. This is the original Black Orchid EDP. It is perfect the way it is. It is amazing. It is the mountaintop. It is Mount Olympus. And so there you go. There is my list of my perfect 10s. I could do more. I could do 10 more for sure. I could. And so it kind of bums me out that I have to leave all these other fragrances off the list. I had a couple indie fragrances I wanted to put on, but these are, I guess, the ones that I just felt like I had to put on. A list of 10 perfect 10. So there you go. I want to thank Tyler very much for tagging me in this video. It was fun. It was fun. Stressful, but fun. And I would tag someone, but I don't know who hasn't been tagged on this. I also don't know who wants to do tags anymore. It's because I did tag someone last time. And I haven't heard from her. I don't think she's doing as many videos now. That would be totally off-topic fragrances. I haven't heard anything about that. So I don't want to tag her again because she didn't do the last one. I think we all have lives, right? We got stuff going on. And she may not even see my video and doesn't know she's tagged, although I did tag her in Instagram. But I haven't heard. So who knows? Maybe she's off doing really cool summer things, right? Summer things. So, yeah, I mean, I guess the only person I would tag on this, I didn't ask permission ahead of time. I do like to do that. But you know what? I'll go ahead and tag Scott Aromatico. I don't know if Scott's going to watch this. Scott's busy these days. He's got a lot going on that channel. But I'll tag Scott Aromatico, your perfect 10 fragrances. I guess it's a list of 10. All right. Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome. And we out.
John Morel, Fragrance Review. Here comes the swag. John Morel, Fragrance Review. Here comes the swag. Fresh and dope like heroin soap. That man's got swag.